What is up, party people? This is a Silver and Black Coffee Hour coming to you from multiple corners of Austin and the greater Miami International Airport. We are a Spurs podcast from Austin, Texas, boldly going where no other Spurs podcast has gone before. Welcome to the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. My name's Aaron Blackerby. I am joined by someone wearing an NBC Sports hat, but knew that the game was on Amazon Prime. Zach Montana, how are you doing, Zach?
I'm doing great. It was, what can I say? The night was fantastic. And that's all I'll leave it at. There's so much we got to talk about. And I'm great. That's all. Tom, how you feeling?
Hold on. Let's introduce Tom properly.
Sure.
Sports Illustrated Zone.
Yeah.
San Antonio Spurs editor for the Sports Illustrated vertical, or the San Antonio Spurs vertical with Sports Illustrated, our own Pirates of the High Seas, Mr. Tom Petrini. Go. Can I get an R?
R.
Where the fuck is your eye patch?
It is. I lost it on the high seas, but my eye came back, so we're good.
And that happens when you just get off the boat. You just get it just disappears and your eye comes back.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back on dry land. As much fun as it was. I was lucky in the casino, and then I was not as lucky. I was nowhere near as lucky, nowhere near as fortunate as our San Antonio Spurs were in Las Vegas this week. Man, biggest game of the NBA season so far, maybe. I think. I can't think of a second.
Absolutely. And yet it jumps up to another one. Let's take care of some quick business first. Yo, if you're a first timer here, like and subscribe to this. If you're a second timer or more, tell a friend, tell an enemy. Get in the comments. Send us questions. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. We're also on TikTok. All those things. And then, once again, go and tell a stranger as well. I don't really care if you have a relationship with them or not. As long as they want to get good quality Spurs content, I'm content with that myself. All right, enough with that. We have to get to the game last night, but we also were disciplined about our process here. We follow the format. We got to still talk about a little bit of the week ahead. Tom, I'm putting this on my phone. You are getting 24 seconds because that's all we need to have for the first game of the week against the Pelicans.
I would like a buzzer when it goes off.
Okay, I got 24 on my phone going right now, Tom.
All right, Spurs built a big lead. Pelicans powered back behind Derek Queen. Really good. First career triple-double. He had like 30, 10, and 10. He's crazy. Dylan Harper put the game on ice for your San Antonio Spurs. With a
10 seconds.
Spurs lost the paint battle 84-62, shot a blistering 47% from deep. Harrison Barnes and Julian Champagny hit more threes than New Orleans combined.
All right, we're good. We won. That's a great job. Thank you, Tom, so much for that. Second game, I'm going to try and go under 24 on this as well because we did a whole episode after it anyway.
So you don't cheat.
We'll do this. Oh, man, I'm going.
Good.
This is going to be Suns. All right, this is going to be Suns 7 seconds or less. Look, we already did a live after the Lakers game. We know we won. We punched him in the face. And I'm just going to put this out there for Wim Bulletin material again in the future. Wemby, you still haven't beaten the Lakers team led by Luka. Do that next time. Peace. All right.
Hey, it is.
We're good. We're good. We already did that. We already did that. Now, Zach, put on your chef's hat. It's time for you to cook because obviously we're hyped. You're beaming like you just had sex last night. The Spurs played the Thunder, maybe the greatest team in NBA history last night. One loss, Thunder. Historically greatest defense. So, Zach, what the hell happened last night?
Do I have more than 24 seconds?
Oh no! Now this is like having a hot pot. We're making chili. We're making stew.
Yeah.
Cold front just came through.
This might need to be one of those
ones
where like Fox, Harper, and Castle on the court all at the same time, passing it around too.
I got you. Yeah, no problem. Let me just get you a little game recap, and then we can fucking do a little 3-man weave down the court. How about that? Yeah. All right, boys. Biggest game in the last 7 years. And what happened? The Spurs came out flat. started off 0 for 13 from 0 for 14 from 3. And if you said that to me before the game started and said, hey, the Spurs are going to start at 0 for 13 to start the game, 0 for 14 to start the game from 3, you're going to be like, oh, this might be a little rough, fellas. And it was. The Spurs were down 11 at the end of the first. Here comes the break in case of emergency. I loved what we saw from Amazon Prime. It comes from a commercial break, and Wemby's whipping off his pants, and they're like, the big fella's coming in. And it was cinematic. You knew what was happening. Bam, the Spurs get right back in the game. Okay, Wemby's got to go get another break. He played 3 minutes. It was 3 minutes. He had 2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. You're like, okay, here we go. Wemby's playing some basketball. Come from commercial break, he's back on the bench, and you can tell, okay, the Spurs are going to play this conservatively. They're saving him for the back end of the game. They didn't start him. They're like, okay, we're going to save him, and it came and it worked to perfection. Spurs are down 16. Wemby comes back in the game. There's 4 minutes to go on the until halftime. You're like, ooh, this could really go south pretty quickly. Nope. Wemby and the Spurs cut the lead to 3 at halftime, and you're like, oh, okay. And even everyone on the broadcast and even the halftime guys are saying, this Spurs team going into halftime down 3 is almost like a win. They're almost like, we're winning this game at this point with the way the first quarter started, with the way they were down 16 in the second quarter. You're like, ooh. And then they come out in the third, and you're the OKC Thunder are the second best third quarter scoring team in the league. So you're like, okay, here we go. Are we going to have an issue? Wrong. Spurs won the third quarter. They came out, punched the OKC Thunder right in the mouth, went up 6. Shout out Devin Vassell hitting a few big threes down there in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox got going there in the third quarter to start. They hit a few runners, got in the lane. Spurs went up 6. You punched them in the mouth. You knew the the Thunder were going to respond, which is exactly what they did. Fourth quarter starts. The Spurs are up 1. You're like, who's going to take this team home? Who's gonna? It was Wemby. The first game back, 15 points in the fourth quarter. You're like, wait a second. This guy's dogging right now. He's on it. De'Aaron Fox was on it. Steph Castle was on it. Look, there was a play down the stretch where Devin Vassell hit a massive 3 with 3 minutes to go in the game. A lot of big players stepped up in this game. A lot of big players. The gravity that Wemby pulled in that fourth quarter, there was multiple plays where De'Aaron Fox got great looks just because they are doubling Wemby off De'Aaron Fox. And I was talking to AB before this game started, or before this show started. How many times De'Aaron Fox in his career, his player doubles off him, and he's like, "Oh, this is so nice." Catches it easy, catch and shoot 3. Look, this game was hectic, but what I will say is Steph Castle against SGA. That was the matchup all night that I watched, and it didn't really blow my mind because he did it last year in San Antonio as well as a rookie. But last night, poised, he was in his jersey. And I got to give Devin Vassell credit too. Devin Vassell was giving SGA fits too on defense. He blocked him at one point. And how many times have you seen SGA get his jumper blocked? You don't really see that ever happening. So
Dylan Harper in that game last night had a very similar block to Stephon Castle last year in a cup game where it was right at the right under the backboard. Just fantastic. Also, there was a point in that second half where there were 4 Thunder players underneath the basket, and Luke Cornett came up with the rebound. Just insane hustle, insane physicality from this team.
I do want to give a few interesting stats before we move on.
Yeah.
The Spurs in that second quarter held the Oklahoma City Thunder to a season low in point scoring in a quarter for any quarter. The only other time they've scored in the teens this season was when they played the Golden State Warriors and it was in the fourth quarter, and they were up 25 at that point. So this performance here in the second quarter, Wemby completely turned this game around. We can sit there and point out different things. No, Wemby got this team back in the game and instilled confidence in the rest of this team to say that, hey, we can get out here and we can play hoops with them. And my players of the game, star players of the game, Wemby plus 21 in 21 minutes. Devin Vassell 4 threes in that second half.
Well, Zach, how many points did they score in that second quarter?
18. They scored 18 in the second quarter. Sorry about that. Didn't forgot to put that part in there. But Yeah, Wemby plus 21 in 21 minutes. So basically every minute he was on the court, the Spurs were gaining a point on the OKC Thunder. Devin Vassell, 4 threes in the second half. Steph Castle and Fox were smooth all night. And I know that Harrison Barnes had a poor shooting performance last night, but he did lead the team in assists.
Damn. I had an interesting time with this game. One, I had to watch it on replay. I had a chance to go see Billy Strings last night, and it was awesome. And I was still following along on my phone. And um, I just want to be clear that I love my wife more than anyone in the world. And she said one of the sexiest things to me ever, and then she said one of the worst things to me ever, all in the span of about 10 minutes. Uh, it was the third quarter, and or maybe it was 20 minutes, but it was the third quarter, and she was like, "Oh, don't they shit the bed in the third quarter?" And I was like, "You know what? That's really sexy that you understand ball like that. Thank you so much, love, for listening to me." And then it was in the fourth quarter, around like the 6:30 minute mark. I think like the Spurs were like regaining the lead, and she goes, "Oh, we're gonna win." I was like, "Dude, dude, like don't." I was like, "Do not do that." And so as I was at this show, I was following along more online. I did rewatch the game last night and again this morning. And Billy Strings, it's like near the end of the show, so there's like jamming and it's like very intense. And it's intense as I'm also just looking at my phone. And I'm just like, oh my God, 8 seconds, 3 seconds. Did we win? And the show ended with like the 1 second mark or anything left. And Joan's like, okay, go. And I was like, no, we are not leaving our seats until this is over. She was like, okay, that like fair enough. And so not that we had anything to do with that, but like my superstition just like went into overdrive while also being at this concert. Uh Fantastic win. Demon time from Stephon Castle.
The 360 layup. We've had two 360 lays this year from the players.
Hey, can we talk about Steph Castle for a minute here? Because uh, I tweeted this out last night. Clearly, it resonated with people. Uh, they were the Oklahoma City Thunder were hitting him with crowbars every time he drove the lane. Every single time they were hacking him. Uh, he did not shoot his first free throws of the game until the refs were absolutely sure that the Thunder were trying to foul him in the late stages. He went to the free throw line, up a point with gauze in his nose and a bloody lower lip, and he just sank him. And it was awesome. And Mitch Johnson
Tom,
said, guys, we're fouling up three, and we're doing it again, and we're doing it again, and it's going to be as fun as balancing a checkbook, but we're going to win this damn game. And they did.
I saw your tweet when I was at the concert, and sometimes Tom, I think you're such a great linguist with words, and just reading that without having the context of the video, I was like, oh, well, like Stephon Castle's like clearly been hit a lot. And sometimes, Tom, like you do a great job of like using metaphor. And so I was like, oh, like this is clearly a joke. There's no way that this guy who has like a real bloody lip and gauze in his nose is just now. And then I was watching a replay. I was like, holy shit, he has gauze in his nose and a real busted lip, and he's just now going to the free throw
He
line.
looked like he was on a poster for The Hangover. He looked like one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like it was unbelievable. But you know what? Thunder fans also were a little cross with the officials after this one. And I think part of that is the Thunder
Losing.
It's the Thunder losing, but it's not just SGA. Like and it's not just they're getting a championship whistle, right? Which they are. But I think in this game, the officials did kind of whistle it a little bit more playoffy. There was some ticky-tacky stuff, right? But I think, and it sounds weird to say that in a game where there were like over 50, free throws combined. But like they were letting the guys play, especially late as this game was getting really, really hectic. It was like, we're not
Yeah.
calling the foul unless you're trying to foul them. kind of
Deb
No,
Castle
stuff.
completely agree.
3 times got fouled on a dunk, a layup, and the 360 layup. That's, I mean,
Oh, I'm not saying that like the fouls were like equal, but I will say there were definitely some times where the Spurs were also
oh,
physical, especially in the paint with the Thunder, and they didn't call it. And you know, Alex Caruso, what a non-guilty king we have out here. The guy is surprised that he gets called for a foul when he fouls people on every possession, which, like, respect to you and your game for that, Mr. Caruso. But there are a few times you're like, what? I didn't get the, like,
blatantly
I was like,
holds
dude,
Devin Vassell on the sideline. He's complaining about it.
Can we talk
hey,
about
man,
that play with
that's his
Caruso?
game. And
The one, the play I'm talking about with
which
Caruso.
one?
So it was 2.5-ish minutes left in the game. Spurs are down
217.
one. Wemby has the ball like at the free throw line against Caruso, tries to create some space. Caruso slaps the ball out of his hands on a jumper. Wemby collects it. Caruso makes another great stab at the ball and disrupts it. And it looked like Wemby collected control of it while he was like in his upward motion. He had to like figure it out midair, and he did, and he switched a shot. And as soon as he did, and the ticker went up, yelling, point and yell,
You
and
know, my
Oh, let's talk about some more Wemby stuff here. The
yeah,
dude is not afraid of Chet Holmgren. It is so funny when Chet comes out on the perimeter and he's used to people giving him space, and Wemby's like, "No, actually, I'm faster than you, and you don't get a free 3-point shot." And then Chet's like, "Okay, I'm going to take you down low," and it's like, "No, once again, I'm faster than you, and you're not going to get an easy shot." And secondly, to all the NBA national media heads out there, how is Chet Holmgren going to be considered the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year when he barely guards Wemby on defense?
he avoids him. Mark, his own
so
head
So,
coach don't even trust him playing one-on-one defense.
so here's the thing with Wemby and Chet Holmgren. Um, I think to say that Wemby dislikes Chet Holmgren would be like saying that Wemby is pretty tall. But we're really underselling it. He's, I think, disgusted that people put them in the same sentence sometimes. He wants to knock the chin strap off of that guy every time they play. He wants to turn him into a mist.
oh my God, that baseline jumper he hit over Chet when Wemby clearly saw he had two other Spurs open across the court in a pass that he could make, and he was like, "No, Chet's in front of me. I must hit a fadeaway jumper in his face." I was just like,
Dwayne Wade said it best. He said, "I know what we got going on here. We got 7-foot beef." I was like, "Yeah, we do."
That block, that
dude,
block. I did coming into this game. I was like, I need a good Wemby
Weak
on
ass
Chet
move, by the
play.
way.
The thing was that move started at the 3-point line, and Wemby was his shadow all the way into the low block where he put 3 more moves on him, and none of them worked. Sent it back. Victor Wilkes-Booth-Yama.
Watch the footwork. Watch their footwork. Wimby is matching every step for step, with perfection. Chet had no business going for that ball. He should have passed it out. Ego popped into his head, and he's like, "Oh, no, buddy, that 1-foot BS ain't working around here."
That's the thing, though. That's what separates these two players, right? Wemby sees the play, sees that guy in front of him, sees red, and says, "I'm going to embarrass you in front of all of these people." If Chet gets that sort of idea in his head, it doesn't go well for him. And so he tries to make the right basketball play. And it's not that there's shame in that, right? But there's a lot of pride in what Victor Wembanyama does every time he laces him up against that guy.
and I mean, let's talk about a little bit more of the unsung heroes from last night. I think Devin Vassell really announced himself with I mean, what he had 23 points last night.
Yep.
went
22.
went a little. He didn't go full flamethrower, but man, he hit every shot that he needed
23.
to. Played within himself. Um, I thought like defensively, he did a pretty great job again. I don't think he had the SGA assignment that much, but like that's okay. Another unsung hero I want to shout out is, I mean, I already talked about Luke Cornett a little bit, but just once again coming over and doing dirty man stuff for folks. And Dylan Harper too really held his own as a defender against SGA. Like I was so impressed last night.
Yeah, I know. Luke Cornett made a great play there down by 6 minutes, about 6 minutes ago in the fourth quarter. Thunder on a fast break, and you're like, who's gonna come? Who's the last guy you'd expect to break up an alley oop on a fast break is Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett was there, and that actual play turned around into a Devin Vassell three. So that was a massive 4 point swing right there. And it's all because your big man is making extra efforts to get down the court. So it's great to
You
see.
know, back in the day, especially when LeBron was a more athletic person, you always had to worry about the chase down block from him. I swear, if Luke Cornett is hustling his ass down the court, you're probably getting blocked. If anything has shown us in the last two
Yep.
weeks. Like,
Yes.
so,
Yep. Yeah, I
And
mean,
between the Orlando game, the
yep.
Lakers game last
Yep.
night, like if Luke Cornett is hustling, your shit is getting wrecked.
He's hustling for a
and
reason.
AB,
Yeah.
you mentioned Devin Vassell. Fox also on the perimeter in this game.
Yep.
They were both hitting threes, and to me, I think one of the most impressive things about this game, um, they did not care how cold they started. They did not allow that to shake their confidence or change their approach in any way. They said, we know these are good shots. We're going to keep taking good shots. If you're open, shoot it. If you're not, move it. Don't overthink it. They thought a lot on defense. The defense was the best I've seen all year from the Spurs. Most impressive. But their offensive philosophy and approach, they didn't allow themselves to get shaken by the best defense in the league.
Well, why would they? The 14 majority of those 14 shots that they missed in the first quarter were good looks. You know, it's not like they were taking bad looks. They were good open looks from the corner. They were getting and they asked Steph Castle last night and said, "Hey, it took y'all had 11 turnovers kind of in the first quarter and a half. And y'all didn't turn the ball over to end the quarter. And y'all went on a big old run to get this game back close. It kind of took this, and even like you got to give this team like there was a feeling out process, not for the OKC Thunder. They've been in these big games, but there's a feeling out process for the Spurs in these type of games where it's like this is the first time that all these guys have played together for one this season. All these guys have played together in a big time game two this season. There's gonna be some jitters. There's gonna be some we need to knock these cobwebs off to figure out how to play in these games. It took them about a quarter and a half, and then they figured it out. And I think that's really what I was looking forward to most in a game like this is yes, OKC Thunder are great. Yes, the cup final or the cup semifinal means a lot, but adding these two together, blending these two things together, it really turns into like this is a massive growing test. This is an on the job training moment for the Spurs. And a lot of times when you're on the job training, you're going to make mistakes your first few days. You're going to make mistakes your first few hours on the job when you're trying to figure out these new ways to win a game or this team you hadn't played against this season. They figured it out. They tightened the bootstraps. They grew up.
Absolutely. And fellas, let's keep the good vibes going with some high praise. For anyone, again, that you're new here, we like to say positive things about the Spurs and constructive criticisms about them. And so, yeah, we're just going to jump into high praise here. Um, Look, I'm going to kick us off today. I got to give Mitch Johnson, the Spurs front office, and the medical staff the highest of praise. Um, what a game plan last night of from the coaching staff, and just okay, just Zach, role play with me for a
Got
second.
you.
You're Victor
Got you. Do I
Wembanyama.
have to do a French accent?
I'm I'm Mitch Johnson. So okay, coming in. Hey Vic, look, I'm so stoked that you're ready to go, man. You've done everything in rehab. The medical staff's cleared you. Like, are you excited to play this game against Oklahoma City Thunder and the guy that you despise more than any ant, Chet Holmgren?
Oui, oui.
Okay, yeah, awesome. That's so great. So Wemby, just gonna let you know. The team's been playing really great with you. We've also been playing really great without you. Doesn't mean that we don't love you. Doesn't mean that you're going to be on a minutes restriction.
Oui, oui.
Okay, great. I'm so glad that you just see the vision with this team. That's amazing. Not only are you going to be on a minutes restriction, you're not starting for the first time ever in your career. Are you cool with that?
As they say in France, bon sac aus, which means hell yes.
Okay, amazing. Wow, this is the best I could have ever hoped that this conversation went. By the way, you will come in the second quarter, so don't worry about the first quarter. Is that cool too?
Oui, oui.
Okay, scene. I'm pretty sure it went something like that with the team. Um,
I
and
I thought I think there was probably a little more French to pardon. Like,
Maybe.
it's my
yeah,
guess.
probably.
But like but also maybe hey, I don't know. He said it in the lead up, right? Like I probably would have been back sooner, but it's probably smart to listen to these guys, right?
Yeah, man. So look, there just has to be a level of trust and communication um, from the top down for something like this. It's he is a competitor, probably could have come back sooner, and the fact that it was a team that he gets up for, he wanted to show out for, and I mean, I didn't feel like he was forcing anything either when he was out there. I thought he played within his means. To your point, Zach, I mean, he swung the game when he did. And Mitch Johnson being able to do that, saying, like, come off the bench, like, this way we can help manage your minutes better. Just fantastic job. So, yeah, shout out to Mitch Johnson and co for
I'm
that.
gonna carry off what you're saying and really just bring it down to just one specific player. I think Wemby trusting the process and this whole thing really shines a light on the trust between Wemby, the organization, and everybody kind of in between that, all the middlemen that are involved in that process or how they go about it. I think for me, that's just a breath of fresh air for this team, for what this organization had been through over the last 7 years. Their name dragged through the mud about certain things, about how they handle certain stuff. I think with the way Steph and the way Wemby handled this situation over the last month, 2 to 3 weeks, with their injury recovery process, it's awesome to see. I think it's also amazing to see the way that Wemby is talking about this team and just saying he wants to be a part of the team. I think that makes it so much easier for everybody involved, players, coaching staff. Um, I would imagine it's so much easier as a basketball player to play with the best player in the world and understand that the best player in the world knows he's the best player in the world, but doesn't want to be treated like the best player in the world and wants to be treated like a normal teammate and wants to be involved in just like everyday basketball activities and wants a beautiful basketball game instead of ISO basketball. I think it all just kind of like trusting the process, trusting your teammates. It's all there's a bunch of trust within this organization and it's showing. I think everything is kind of coming to fruition at this point in time, and it takes a while to get to this point to build that trust within the organization with these players. And I think it's working.
Did you see the his quote after the game? One about, you know, some people are built for this, some aren't, but then about I'm really proud to be a part of this is pure ethical basketball. I
I don't
mean,
even think that was a
like
shot at OKC. I think that's a shot at just like the fact that the Spurs are playing good basketball.
I think we can hold two things, as Aaron likes to say.
That's fair.
You know, like I think he's very proud of what the Spurs are putting on the basketball court with or without him. I think he loathes that team across from him, you know? Uh, and so, but yeah, I mean, and I gotta give a shout out to the other guys, right? Like it's so reductive to call them that. It's not Victor Wembanyama and the Shondells, right? I mean, it kind of is, but like those other guys, I think Mitch said it really well last night. He's the biggest puzzle piece. We're very comfortable with him being the leader of our franchise, but he's not the whole puzzle, right? And he doesn't want to be. And so when you have a night where you've got four of a kind in 20 plus points, where you've got bodies that you can throw at a team that is just bodies, right? Like the depth. The depth is why the Spurs are here. The depth is why the Spurs have been able to 3 times in a row now win their biggest game that they've had in 6, 7 years, and then double down, and then win a game that feels twice as big as that, and then do it again. And they're playing with house money, and they just keep winning, man. So, yeah, shout out to Luke Cornett and his screens. Shout out to Devin Vassell and his confident threes. Shout out to all of these guys, man. All of these players who are optimized in a supporting role and picked up a little bit of extra slack in this month with Wemby on the bench. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, let's jump into some questions we have from this game going forward. Um, we're definitely past the quarter mark of the season. We didn't really get to do quarter grades, but we'll bring up some questions we had coming into the season if anything's changed. But first one, how did you guys think that the Spurs put the league on notice? It's not a question of is the league on notice. Everybody knows the league's on notice about the Spurs. What in particular are you seeing that the Spurs have put them on notice, Tom?
I mean, the people have been saying since Wemby got there, oh, they got a bright future. They got a lot of assets. They've got down the road this will be a scary team. Rest of the league is out of road. The Spurs are no longer knocking at the door of their bright future. They have kicked it down. They have announced themselves as contenders. They have shown and proven. Like this game didn't prove that they're better than the Thunder, right? Wish it did. Would be really cool. It's not what happened. But what it did prove is that they're qualified and able to take out the best team in the league, the scariest team that we have seen since 73 and 9. They can do it. Nobody else can. I mean, the Blazers got the other win, and I don't think that the Blazers are beating the Thunder in a 7-game series. I'm not saying the Spurs are beating the Thunder in a 7-game series right now, but if you had to pick one team out of the other 29, it's probably the Spurs, right?
Well, in their
Yeah, I'd
Blazers
agree with
loss, the Thunder had a bunch of players out. They weren't even fully healthy like they were last night against the Spurs. So I think context matters. This is the first time they've lost all season fully healthy.
They can bleed,
Well, this
and
is
the
also
Spurs can
their
make them
first
bleed.
game completely healthy as well. Yeah. Yeah. What do you got, Zach? How do you think they put them on notice, the league on notice?
Man, so I think this week in general, I don't think last night. I think the Spurs won a game in LA playing high paced, pushing the ball, getting rebounds, making teams work, running you up and down the court. And last night they won a dogfight against a team that wins dogfights. So I think this week they've really put on notice that, hey, look, if you want to run with us, we're cool with running with you all day. We'll run up and down the court way too quick for you. If you want to get in a dogfight with us and slug it out, we once again have no issue doing that. We have no issue getting into the mud with you. No issue getting into. Both teams shot 41% last night. Both teams. I mean, this was a dogfight. This was a playoff basketball in the mud. Let's drag this deep in the fourth quarter and see who can pull it out. I don't, and Tom's right. This doesn't mean we can beat the Thunder in a 7-game series, but this means that this is a confidence growing game. This is just like the Houston game, just like the Denver game, just like the Miami Heat game. You can walk out of these games, and be like, okay, we can do this. And it's always better as a confidence, but it's like, yo, we've done it. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I would agree with you, just to the point of physicality, especially of putting the league on notice for that sort of thing. And, the thing is with like putting the league on notice leads to a bigger target, leads to more pressure, you know, like that is something within this next part of the season is going to be very interesting to see how the Spurs weather. But look, man, they've been on the road for what is it, like 22
Mm-hmm.
days, basically? Like, it's just
Yeah,
all
so
about
the numbers here
being within the
are
team.
20 20 of the last 22 days they've been on the road. They've played 10 games in 10 different cities. They've traveled over 5,000 miles. And the last game they
This
go to
is this is
Vegas
actually the
for the Thunder.
yeah, this is actually the longest they've stayed somewhere is in Las Vegas right now before they play the Knicks. And I know we're going to get to that game preview and everything, but it's pretty fast. It'll be really interesting to see. The Knicks are not the Tom Thibodeau Knicks. They're definitely more of a push the pace type of team rather than like not that they don't have still like physical dudes or anything, but like they're like to see what they will want to do with the Spurs. They're also trying to prove a point this year as well. They're a very hungry, veteran laden team. Um, so yeah, the being on notice also means more pressure. I'm really curious to see how they respond. I agree with y'all. Last night does not mean necessarily that like 7-game series Spurs win, but look, we got the 23rd coming up. We'll see how the
And the
Spurs and
25th.
Thunder do in that game, and then Christmas Day, man. So it's not a playoff series, but like we get to see some coaching adjustments here between the two very soon. Next question. What did we think of the 9-man rotation last night? Zach.
It really turned into an 8-man rotation once Mitch realized that Keldon was not on his game last night. Only 14 minutes for Keldon, which is kind of a surprise. But the rest of the team was really out there playing minutes. He had 27 minutes, 24 minutes, 37 minutes for De'Aaron Fox, 32 minutes for Devin Vassell, 34 for Steph Castle. 27 for Julian Champagne. These guys played big minutes. Dylan Harper played 25 minutes. So what it tells me is we're only 25 games of the season, and Mitch knows what he wants from this. Mitch knows what he likes from this roster.
Yeah, for sure. I would add to that is that Mitch put people who knew how to handle the ball
Mm-hmm.
out there last night. And I understand that there will be various sections of the internet, and I don't blame you for wondering, like, where's Carter Bryant? Where's Jeremy Sohan with these things? Their defensive prowess is great. But what's also really helpful in these situations is just ball control against this team that has really active hands, is fouling. And when they do that, they're going to get out and run. So Mitch really wanted to play the possession game rather than, I think, taking gambles with that. So it was a playoff rotation there. Like you said, Zach, like closer probably to 8-man rotation. But yeah, he was just like, I need people that are going to handle the ball well. What do you got, Tom?
I think as far as the way that he managed the rotation, um, you kind of talked about this a little bit, Aaron, but I really enjoyed the way that they brought Wemby in because the first time they brought him in, Thunder had been playing two bigs, and then as soon as those guys were gone and they went a little small, they were like, "All right, Vic, go see what you can do right now," and he did a lot. And then because of the way that they had basically, uh, managed his minutes restriction and where they put him, I think it was funky, it was odd, it was perfect, and it gave nothing away in terms of like industry secrets for the next 3 games a month that they're going to play this juggernaut team, right? And like if we don't get a 7-game series of this in a few months, I'm going to be upset because it's going to be great hoop. So I think that pretty much for me, the only question mark that I had for the rotation was about backup center minutes, and Wemby coming back. Wemby is the backup center, kind of fixes that. So
Wemby MVP, defensive player of the year, most improved player of the year, and sixth man of the year. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that should qualify him for the Supermax extension.
Oh, there you go. Just put them all in one.
We here at Silver and Black Coffee Hour Enterprises, a part of the Boris Yeehaw Productions, we want to see Wemby get paid. Um, so yeah. Well, here, on to the next one. So we had questions coming into this season, and it feels like we're at like a pretty cool reflection point. Um, Tom, what were a couple of your questions at the beginning of the season, and how do you think they've been answered thus far?
So the two big ones that I can answer right now. First is, what's the ideal starting and closing lineup? And I think it's the same. I think it's Fox, and then whoever's hotter between Castle and Harper at the end. Devin Vassell, and then whoever's hotter out of Harrison Barnes and Julian Champagny, and Victor Wembanyama. You know, the great thing about those groups of three, you've got the three slashing downhill playmakers, you've got the three, 3-point shooting wings, right? You never know which of them is going to have the best night. You never know if, like Harrison Barnes missed a million 3-pointers last night, and he was still in there at the end, right? But there may be games where, if he really doesn't have it, and, Champagny or Keldon even is lighting it up, Mitch Johnson has shown a willingness to ride the hot hand, which I think is really cool. The other question is, how close is Wemby to MVP? And the answer to that question is that as long as he plays the requisite number of games, he is going to be a legitimate contender for this award starting now in perpetuity. And that raises the level, that raises the ceiling, that makes this a really, really dangerous team.
Absolutely. Zach, what are maybe two of your questions you had that you feel like you can answer at least right now?
One of my questions I asked was, how does Mitch Johnson handle a new look Spurs team that's shown that there is depth on the bench this season that hasn't been there at the disposal of the last few seasons? Well, I think that answered itself for the last few weeks. No Steph, no Wemby, 9-3 without him, 8-4 with him. This team is very consistent, very even-keeled, and Tom hit the nail on the head. You can get it from anybody. Anybody can get it. You can get it from anybody you want tonight. You want to start slacking off Devin Vassell and doubling from him? Fine with me. You want to slide off De'Aaron Fox and double with your smaller guard on Wemby? Cool. Down. You want to leave Harrison Barnes in the corner from the weak side? Sick. We'll allow it too. There's so many dogs on this team. I think that question has answered itself just based off the way they played. And then my other question was, who ends up being the best 3-point shooter this season? And I think 25 games in, we've got a good sample size. Friend of the show, Harrison Ingram, 1,000%. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. Shout out Harrison Ingram, friend of the show. But it's Harrison Barnes, Devin Vassell, and De'Aaron Fox in there. That's not somebody you would expect to shoot 39% from three. Hitting them, and hitting them. Those are three guys you want to be your best 3-point shooter because they're going to be shooting the most threes. So if those are guys you're banging them, keep it up, fellas.
That leap, that
Hey, just to
De'Aaron
add
Fox
on to
leap.
that, man, I was just gonna say, like we brought this up in the off season before the season started that we thought this team was deep. I mean, they've really answered
Yep.
that. What were you gonna say, Tom?
I was going to say the De'Aaron Fox leap in terms of his 3-point shooting And again, this is on like 6.5 attempts per game that he's shooting 39% on. Um, you know, it, and then you've got Harrison Barnes, Champagny, and Vassell combining for 20 attempts a game, hitting around 40% between the three of them. Um, the leap for Fox really enables them to get so much funkier with the lineups. They can do the three slashers. They can put him with the slash bros. I loved that Amazon had the graphic with all of the Spurs nicknames. French Vanilla, Area 51, the Slash Bros. Uh, what was
White
the
Castle was on there.
White Castle?
Pineapple Express.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
there's a lot of swagger out there.
well, Tom, I mean, you did kind of answer one of my questions I had about De'Aaron Fox being able to shut up his haters and already bringing up his 3-point percentage at 39 percent on the season. His career 3-point percentage is 33.3%. And I'll just go through some of these numbers right now. For De'Aaron Fox's career, he averages 21 and a half points at 33 minutes played per game, 3.9 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1.4 steals, and zero point 0.4 blocks. This season, at 32.9 minutes per game, minutes played per game, 23.9 points, 3.6 rebounds, a little down, 6.2 assists, a little up, still averaging 1.4 steals and zero point 0.3 blocks per game. This is where things get interesting. Previously, he was at 47% on his field goal percentage. He's now at 48.8. Once again, as his 3-point percentage was 33 for his career, it is now up to 39.1%. Free throw percentage was at 74.9%. It is now up to 84%. And true shooting percentage was at 55.9%. It is now up to
Wow.
61.1%. So
That's a
De'Aaron
big stat right
Fox,
there.
dude, balling out. I think he's shutting his haters up. And I mean, I once again hope that he starts getting more consideration for All-Star. Next one that I feel like we can answer too is Dylan Harper, shooting over 50% at the rim, which, last night in particular, he, I think, scored around 8 points. Like, it wasn't like the big offensive hub. He was still getting downhill to the rim when he wanted to, but I was more impressed with his defense again last night. Being able to have like a big body guard out there who knows how to move and just understands like passing angles. I've been so impressed by him, especially as a rookie coming back. Then we got to talk about in New Orleans. He had the offhand game winner to win that game as well. And look, I hope this dude keeps getting more push for up the rookie leaderboard. So, last question here for you guys. We have passed the quarter mark of the season. What's a question or some quick questions that you have going into this next stretch of the season?
I'm just
Zach.
curious how consistent this team can be. The next 25 games will really let us know what kind of grown-ups we have on this team. Especially after last night, you're feeling yourself. If they win on Tuesday, they're definitely gonna be feeling themselves. And it's all about staying consistent and being confident, but not getting out of your comfort, not getting too overconfident where we're like Steph Curry the other night in Vegas or in Los Angeles. We threw it behind the back pass. You're like, what are we doing here? Now, I don't hate the move, but let's just stay within our means. I'm just really curious to see how this team can take this next step over the next 25 games, knowing what we know about them now and them knowing what they know about themselves.
Yeah. Tom, what do you got?
So for me, I'm really interested to see how the Spurs are able to combine the good stuff that they did that got them to 9-3 without Wemby on the floor, which was not just free flowing and egalitarian, but like a huge part of the Spurs' success in that stretch was their offense, right? And a huge part of their offensive success was Luke Cornett setting screens, right? Uh, Cornet's the best screen setter in the NBA. And I don't think that the Spurs want to risk Victor Wembanyama's knees and lower extremities by having him set as many screens or half as many screens as Luke Cornett's set, right? So Wemby tends to be a little bit more of a ball stopper, and he's a talented enough player that makes sense to do. So figuring out how to make it all work together, how to maximize and protect Wemby for when it comes time to win something more than the NBA Cup. That's the biggest thing for me. Even bigger than is there a deadline deal? Because as we've said, the depth and the rotation that they've got a really good team already. So I think it's more about, Mitch Johnson. How do you make this all work together? How do you maximize what you got out there? What about you, AB?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, does Wemby start again?
I think
Is the optimal
I
role for
think
this team is just let them
I,
go
I
crazy for 20 minutes?
that's not my real question, but you gotta throw some things out there for the SEO every once in a while. But look, I agree with you guys on the depth. I still do have questions overall about our forward depth. Look, the guards are spoken for, our backcourt is spoken for. From a depth perspective after Harrison Barnes, I mean, I'm still feeling like we're a little thin at forward. So I will be curious, once again with Jeremy Sohan and Carter Bryant's development, and obviously some of these lower stakes games after we get through the NBA Cup final and how they come along. So yeah, and with that, let's get into our little preview of the NBA Cup finals against the New York Knicks, Spike Lee's own Timothy Chalamet. Maybe he's going to show up for a Marty Supreme promotion in Vegas. I wouldn't put it past him.
You know
Uh,
who lost Trump in Vegas?
are you going, Zach? Did you already get tickets?
I am trying to. I have a state inspection on Tuesday morning in San Antonio. I'm trying to get someone to cover for me, and I think I got it figured out. So I tickets are like $250 lower bowl, and I got air miles and hotel miles. Like I'm fucking doing it.
Oh, really?
Fucking yeah.
Okay. I'm looking into it after this
250 lower
this
bowl.
episode.
I've already 2 steps
That's
ahead.
not bad at all.
2 steps ahead of you, my
Okay.
boy.
Damn. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Well, look, we're playing the Knicks. This is probably the Eastern Conference's favored team, I would say, with their previous playoff experience. We actually share the same amount of wins and losses with them. I believe they also came in as the third seed, or were they the one seed?
They played away to Toronto, so they were third seed.
Okay, so it's two three seeds going against each other for this NBA Cup final. Um, what do you guys got on this? How are we beating this team, and where are they good at? They're good at a lot of
A
things,
very
actually.
efficient scoring team. The second best efficient scoring team in the league. 30%, 37% of their points are behind the 3-point line, which is seventh in the league. A really good team that has played in, as you said, they played in big games. This team has played in big games together. I think that's the one up they have on the Spurs on Tuesday night is the fact that they've been there and understand what it's like in these type of moments. The last two times Wemby has played the New York Knicks, 40 points both games. So we will see what the old French phenom has for the Knicks for the third time. Hopefully, the third time will be 2-1 against the old Knicks, and hopefully he can keep the game ball this time, not throw it in the stands.
these teams put out banger games every time they play each other. The Chris Day game, the one where Brunson scored 60 and Wemby said, I am taking your ball and giving it to somebody else. My ball, actually. And now the people's ball, the people's champion, Victor Wembanyama. It's going to be fun. I hope they got Walt Clyde Frazier somewhere commentating on it, because I want to hear what that man has to say about Victor Wembanyama. Um, Yeah, this is going to be fun. But what I got to say about this game is that like the Spurs have already had in this cup run one of the most impressive string of wins that I've seen from this team. It's one of the most impressive sets of wins that anybody could hope for. Beat the Rockets, beat the Nuggets, beat the Lakers, beat the Thunder, and the last three of those on the road, right? Like this team has already sort of accomplished what they set out to do, which was treat these games like a proving ground, like a crucible. But they got one more, right? And if they can close the deal here, like you know they don't want to leave this job unfinished, right? You know this means to all of these guys. So, yeah, want to see them get it done.
Well, look, I think the best way for Keldon Johnson to get his llama is to do his best Josh Hart impression in this game. We got to see if he's ready to be crazier than Josh Hart. Secondly, the Knicks are actually better than the Spurs in just about every statistical category currently. I know that's a little different because of, various injuries and whatnot. One thing that's really sticking out to me that I have a feeling Mitch Johnson is going to harp on once again. The Knicks are not a very good free throw shooting team, and they don't go to the line that often. I believe they're 23rd or 24th right now, according to StatMuse, and three free throws made and attempted. The Spurs are in the top 10, seventh and eighth. So the game plan should not change from what it was in LA, nor should it change what it was against the Thunder. Be physical, push the pace, get after them, give Jalen Brunson a bunch of different looks with different guards. I think De'Aaron Fox can keep up with them. I think that Stephon Castle can. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dylan Harper on him. And here's something else you're going to probably see in this game that's a very Corliss Williamson wrinkle. And they did it a little bit last night, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. Sometimes we're going to be thinking like, oh, Wemby's going to be on Cat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, friends. Watch out for Stephon Castle on Cat, especially out on the perimeter. That dude has the strength to hold down with him and not back down. So I think it's winnable. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. And look, I want Keldon Johnson to get his
Okay,
llama.
can we talk about
Also,
the
I did
llama
some
thing
digging
for a
on llama
second? I was
pricing.
gonna say, like,
It's actually not that expensive.
yeah,
It's not that
it's not
expensive.
like it's a llama Borghini.
You're fucking stupid for that, dude. You're
That's
fucking stupid for
DJG's.
that.
He's
That's
already
great.
got llama money, because they've already got, what is it, 200 something now per player?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get 10 llamas.
Yeah. You can my wife and I looked up llama prices yesterday and they're between like five and $10,000. Someone else on No Dunks, they like looked up llamas and they said they were like 300K and I was like, bro, like you can find these on Craigslist like all around Texas. Especially with the amount of like exotic ranches around here. I was just like, you guys are over in Atlanta. I don't think you
Yeah,
understand the culture
yeah.
of like South Texas. So, all right, you guys, okay. Let's just before we get into the other two games, which there are going to be two games next week too. What do you think? We taking down the Knicks?
Why not?
Why not
Okay,
us?
Russell
Why
Westbrook.
not us?
Why not?
Oh, we got two Russell Westbrooks in the chat. I love it.
Why not us?
Man, I'll tell you what, I think so as well. That was going to be Tuesday night. I don't know. We'll talk afterwards, fellas, if we maybe want to do something after, depending on the outcome of the game or something. I don't know. I don't know. We'll talk offline. Tom's got to get back to Austin. Um, and then the Spurs will finally come back to San Antonio, but for a night
Again.
against the worst team in the East, the Washington Wizards. Look, I think regardless of the outcome of Tuesday night, this will be Wemby's return home game since he's been injured. Uh, they are playing with house money. Even though it's the Wizards, I cannot imagine that there will not be a buzz in the Frost Bank Center. I think there's going to be stuff. People are going to be asking about his time at Vegas. Has his opinion changed on it in any way? And look, the Wizards are not a good team. They've won one game out of their last 10. They took it to the Bucks, I believe, the game that Giannis got hurt, and they won that game by 3. They're not very good. They are the last team in the East. They are vying with the New Orleans Pelicans for worst team. And I say that because just don't overlook them. TCOB, boots to ass. Let's go. Get this over with. Like, let Wemby play some. Let's get some young legs out there. Let's get some Sohan, Carter Bryant, Lindy Waters minutes in this. Let's maybe see some DJG. Like, let's go on this one. What do you guys got? This team's terrible. There's not really much to like say
It's a
about
great
them.
game to come back to earth from. It's a great game to just resettle yourself, understand that there is a lot more basketball to play, win or lose on Tuesday. There's a lot more to come with this season. So it's a great game to come back to earth. It's a great game.
They, like you said, AB, TCOB, rev up those ice baths early. These guys stink. Get Wemby to 20 minutes. Get that 65 game threshold. And yeah, you got a game against a better, not great, but better opponent the next night. So the earlier you TCOB, the earlier you can ice bath, earlier you can start preparing for the Hawks the next night.
Let's get to that one real quick. Hawks, it will be a back-to-back in Atlanta. So the Spurs are not done traveling, y'all. I mean, it kind of feels like there's this climax right now with the NBA Cup, and then like the season just keeps going. So yeah, we'll travel to Atlanta. Couple things to note as I looked up this morning. Nikhil Alexander Walker right now is day to day with an ankle. He'll probably be ready to play by this time, but that's day to day and it's an ankle. You never know with those soft tissues. Secondly, Trey Young is practicing this week. Not sure yet if he'll be back as of this recording. But this is a Hawks team that's been sliding a little bit. They are not as formidable as they were in that first game that we played them, but Jalen Johnson is still showing out. Um, Look, I think if we're going to have a scheduled loss this week, why not this one? But they do something really bad that we do something really good, and that's rebounding offensively and defensively. We are much better than them. If this is one where it's like, Wemby, we're still getting your legs out from under you, go out there and rebound, young king. There's still a path to winning here. What do you guys got on this one?
Difficult, just scheduling matchup with this week with everything going on. So you would imagine it's to be a difficult game for this team to turn around and figure out. A question we need to ask is, do we think Wemby plays in a back-to-back just coming off an injury too? I think those are like a question that, but the team has won without
I
Wemby too.
do.
The team has won. Like that's not a bad question to ask either, because the team's going to play a good brand of basketball either way. It's gonna be a tough matchup, though. I think just with the scheduling, we saw what it was when they did this with Orlando a few weeks ago, where it was back to back. Get on the plane. We were there covering it. The team is very, hey, we'll answer a few questions. We're getting the hell out of here because we got places to be. So yeah, this is gonna be one of those. We saw how they talked about how big of a win that was in Orlando, a grown adult win. Let's see if they can do it again.
What do you got, Tom?
Yeah, the Hawks, as they have been since they traded their draft future to the Spurs, have just been pure unadulterated mid. Jalen Johnson, really, really good. But I really do think that this one, the only way to me that the travel and all of the like, it's not just a back to back and you got to travel for it. It's a back to back that you got to travel for in a month where you have not stopped traveling and busting your butt. So this one feels like a rough one, but it also feels like this team's grooving. This team is getting after it, and if they're able to get 20 minutes of garbage time against that awful Wizards team, then we might face the jelly leg monster quite as much in this one. So not immediately calling it an L.
Well, with that being said, let's just do some quick predictions for the week. Zach, what do you got before we dip out?
2-1. Wemby or not,
Two and
here we
one.
come.
I like that. Tom, what do you got?
I think 2-1 is probably the smart call. It's what my to. It's either going to be the Knicks or the Hawks. I think it's going to be the Hawks, and I think that the Spurs are going to be NBA Cup champs. Why not?
Yo, I'm gonna be the positive Pete
Wow, here
here.
it goes.
3-0.
Okay.
3-0. I'm gonna call that. I'm gonna be positive Pete
Godspeed.
this week. I think 3-0. I think Wemby plays that Atlanta Hawks back to back. He's still got to ramp up his legs. I think it's good. Before we dip out of here, we'll be back next week. Maybe we'll be back before next week, depending on NBA Cup outcomes and schedules and everything. Tom, what do you got to say before we sign off today?
I don't know if you're feeling lucky and you sit down at a blackjack table, make sure you check out the book first. You don't got to play it every time, but just like understand what you're doing a little bit. Don't mess up the shoe for the rest of us.
Someone scrubbed the
Fair
table
enough.
for you. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Someone was
A story for another time.
Someone was
A
hitting.
story for another time.
Someone was
Zach,
hitting
Zach,
when you should have been hit.
Zach, what do you got to say before you dip?
Guys, last night and this whole week of basketball has been fantastic. I hope everyone has embraced it and enjoyed what they're watching and understand that this Spurs team is growing. This Spurs team is here, and I think they're ready to win basketball games. And we're at the 25 game mark, and I can confidently say that.
Hey, love it. Friends, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. If you're out in Vegas, put it all on black for me at the roulette table. You probably won't regret it. And man, this is a really fun week. I hope everybody enjoys Tuesday. Especially, we will be back soon. And Tom, safe travels back to Austin. Go Spurs, go.
Yo!
Peace.